Good morning, everybody. This is Pat O'Malley, co-host of the Keep Going podcast, Athletes Shining a Light on Mental Health. I'm super excited. I am at McCormick Place. I am in Southwest Lot. Bear down, as you can tell by my look. Shameless plug for the YouTube channel if you haven't checked this out on live. But I do have Shaun Dascher in the building. Shaun, what's going on?
Pat, thanks for having me. Great to be here. Just another Sunday morning.
I love it. I love it, man. It's kind of weird calling you Shaun. Not going to lie. I kind of like calling you Coach. If you guys don't know from the bio, Coach obviously coached me at Rockford University. He's a fellow Regent himself, and now he's over at Freeport, which we'll get into if you can see his backdrop as well. But, Coach, before we get rolling, this is a mental health podcast. I know this morning on a Sunday morning, it is not a normal routine for you. What are you doing this week for your mental health, my man?
Oh, man, this week. So, routine. We spoke a little bit off the record here, and it really is routine. We'll get more into this, but my family has grown. It is doubled up in the last 6 months as well. And I used to be very good with routine, and now the routine definitely can get interrupted in the morning. So the routine is changing. But routine, I'm a large advocate of fitness, working out, specifically more in the weight room. So trying to get all that stuff in throughout the week and staying balanced while still keeping your kind of baseline, right? Keep your baseline with everything.
Yeah, I guess I'd give you a kind of a question B to that, right? Because you do have a family, you do have a full-time job that you really put a lot of hours into. Do you feel like that affects your gym schedule? Like, what do you do to kind of counteract that?
So yes and no. I always tell people I'm really lucky, right? In today's world, I really like what I do, but in today's world, I'm a public educator is my first job, right? I'm a PE teacher, I'm a phys ed teacher, and I've been in this district at Freeport now for 10 years, and I've put myself in a position to kind of be in the job that I wanted. And not to get too lengthy, but I think I was a junior in college, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And even when I talk with kids moving on now, I say, I don't even know if I really truly still know what I want to do.
Right.
But
You're forever adapting. Yeah.
Right. But I do enjoy baseball. I do enjoy sport. I enjoy being around weight room and fitness. I have 6 classes. We're on a block schedule, and I teach only the advanced sections of PE, which we call them, which is the weight and strength-based PE.
Right.
So I get to blend my gym time with my work time, and I don't think there's a large population that gets to do that. So I'm lucky there.
No, I love that. I never even thought of it like that. Being a PE guy myself, I haven't used my degree yet, hopefully in the future, forever adapting, right? But being able to use that gym time and not only get physical fitness in for yourself, but also be around your athletes, correct? That you coach.
Yep. Definitely. My athletes, really, like, it's kind of an oversight position. Our strength and conditioning program and the advanced PE program work together, right?
Nice.
So it's not just kids and programs jumping all over the place, doing overworking athletes essentially, right? So unofficially, I try to coordinate that. Now, this doesn't mean I'm planning for everybody, but we're getting better each year. This is definitely an adaptation. It's not easy.
Absolutely, it's always forever changing.
It's not easy by any means. But yeah, so in my regular classes, I'll have anywhere from kids that are top athletes in the school to kids that aren't athletes at all, and you try to blend it, but we're kind of all there for the same reason. It is definitely more sport focused, what we do, and I give them that lecture, I guess, at the beginning of the semester and say, hey, it's gonna be more sport focused. This is what the class is like. Even though if you're not an athlete, you're still gonna do this, and hopefully you enjoy it, and that's why you're here. Maybe you'll even try some sport along the line here in your next year or two. So it's definitely open to all, and that's kind of the setup.
I love that, man. It's always good to be in the mix with fellow guys with similar goals and aspirations. I know when I'm back in the gym at Rock Valley back in the day, these guys are pushing weight. That fired me up. And quite frankly, I look a lot better at 29 than I did at 22, 23. And that's in part to working with athletes and saying, hey, if I'm going to hold you to this standard, I better look the darn part. And that's just how it goes, right? So, no, I'm with you.
I completely agree. And the more years I've what do I have on you? Well, about 10 more years on you.
Yeah, which is crazy, Coach. You look good, man. You look good. Go ahead.
Thank you. But as we grow, right, it was all about moving that weight and doing that, and how strong can you be? And it comes in time. Like it's no magic pill and it's not overnight. But the biggest push that our message from our department and at Freeport is really just being consistent, right? Like it's not like
Right.
you can't do anything. It doesn't matter what you do if you don't show up.
I love that. I love that.
So just staying consistent and first focusing on good movement patterns, change of direction, right? The ability to react. And then hopefully, the number one goal is, and you'll never be perfect, but trying to keep their body safe first. And then we'll really worry about how strong are you.
Yeah. And that's what I tell my athletes too. At the end of the day, you can't go play 50, 60, 70 games for me if you're not healthy. At the end of the day, your body, your health is my number one. I think that's cool that we're on the same page because unfortunately, it's not always like that. Let's transition here, though. Obviously, man, you've been a sports guy forever. I obviously played college ball with your brother. I know your family. We've been tied for the last 10 years now from back in the day, Legion ball. Talk about how you started playing this game, man. Talk about baseball and you.
That's great. So, baseball, I don't even know when I started. Obviously, times are different. I'm approaching 40 I'm closer to 40 than 30 now. So times were different back then. So we obviously grew up in like the T-balls, and I know they're still around, but the local leagues. And I'm from Lena Winslow High School, Lena, Illinois. My parents and a lot of my family are still there. It's just about 10, 15 minutes west of where we reside now in Freeport. So part of the reason we're here is back to family. Right. Regardless of that, so yeah, just starting in the youth leagues. I played a lot of sport, not just baseball. My mom's side is a big golf family, so I do a lot of that. That conversation comes up. I grew up doing a lot of that. I wish I had time to do more, but obviously family first. So people still get a chuckle at I golf right-handed and swing a bat left-handed.
Oh yeah, I was aware of that. I do know that. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think it's that uncommon, but man, when people see it, they're like, "Wait, hold on, don't you hit left-handed?" I go, "Well, a baseball, but a golf ball right-handed." So played many sports growing up: football, golf, basketball, baseball were kind of the big four. Again, different times. We were very rural. The clubs weren't around, right? Like it wasn't all this mass training.
Different times.
Yeah, it wasn't all this mass training. So we just stayed busy. We played sport around the calendar, and as time went on, it wasn't even like I selected, but it just kind of told you, like, I had something in baseball. I was a little bit better in baseball than the other sports, right?
Right. It separates itself.
Yeah, I kind of just grabbed on. I played all the sports all the way through high school, but I took a risk and got recruited by Bob Koopman coming out of high school.
Shout out Bob Koopman. I played for Bob too. Love that guy.
Still talk to him regularly enough or stay in touch with him. And I had other options. I mean, again, I'm like, man, this is 20 years ago now, right? Like, so, but yeah, there were other, and football was an option too, but really gravitated towards Coop and how his vision and philosophy, and ended up going there. And heck, I ended up playing and coaching for him for over a decade. And
thank you for doing so. I learned a lot from you, Coach.
Finally had to make a move, and then in 2015 ended up out here in Freeport, and here we are.
I'm really blessed that you ended up where you're at, man. I know our paths continue to cross, right? I played for you at Rockford. I coached for you at Freeport a little bit, and now we're connected in recruiting, and just the baseball world is so tight-knit. So when you have good people like you, Coach, you tend to keep them together. Talk about your support group, man. I know you have a beautiful family, an awesome roster at Freeport, a great athletic department. Talk about your support group.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're lucky to have one. If you have anyone in your life that you can turn to in any capacity, it's great. But yeah, it's my support group. It's again ever changing, right? Like lots going on in my home and my personal life right now, and it's all good. But man, are we busy, right? Two 6-month-old twin girls and two older girls as well. So 4 girls. And my wife is obviously always there. We love each other. We're there for each other. And man, sometimes you don't always agree though, and then you go.
Trust me. Ashton is in the back of this tailgate, and we fought a couple of times on the way here at least. So I get it.
So then you lean on other people, lifelong friends, people like yourself. I have some professional colleagues that you turn to when you need definitely the mental side, and I can bring up a situation, and I'm sure you're aware, but I laid a call down to Pat O'Malley in the spring, and I was
Yeah. Oh yeah.
disgruntled to say the least,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And he definitely gave me shine some light on our situation, and I'm very thankful for that.
No, I appreciate you, man. And that's a call that you can always make. And I always laugh. David Mitchell is not here today, but I've told this story countless times. David Mitchell was my co-host, right? Played college ball, played for me at Rock Valley, and I was running one day in Chicago. I was 4 or 5 miles in. I was running hard. I was about to quit, and I got a call, and it was David Mitchell, and it was a Thursday, and he said, "Pat, I'm gonna cry. I always cry when I tell the story." He goes, "Pat, it's our thankful Thursday. And I couldn't leave the dugout today without calling you and letting you know how much you meant to me." And I knew from that moment on, one, I would always have a support group of people that cared. And two, I knew David was going to be a big part of my story. And, he kind of looked back at it. Now he's my co-host and we do a lot with the nonprofit. The point I'm trying to make is, Coach, you got to keep those people around, but you also got to go that extra mile every once in a while. And while I'm on that train of thought, we have to talk about your wife. We have to talk about your daughters. Because, honestly, at this point, there's so much awesome in your family I want to break down for the listeners.
Oh, what do you need to know? Where do we start?
Oh man, just talk about what they mean to you, man, and what they've
Just
gone
try
through
to.
over the last years.
Oh, we are. So just a little insight, and I won't uncover it all. But I have 4 daughters, right? We touched on that, and my oldest daughter was born with she was born with a viral infection. Nothing that anyone could control. And she's very lucky to be here. She has a lot of challenges, and they're ever changing. However, on the bright side, she's probably as stable and as healthy as she's ever been in her life at this moment.
God is
So
good.
that's correct, right? So when you tear the small part of the page and go from that's a positive. Has that changed? When you revert 10, 15 years and you look at your life in the future, has it changed how things are? Very much so. Is it easy day to day? Not always, right? Some days are better than others. And then that kind of slowed our family planning down a little bit, if everybody could understand. So we had a little bit of a gap, and then we had our second daughter, Eliana, and she turned 2 in April, and she is healthy, and she is a spitfire, and
Amazing.
she's crazy. And
Amazing.
she's
As she should
a
be.
left-handed hitter as
Oh,
well.
thank God. I'm not surprised by that. Go ahead.
Yes, she loves to be outside and be just a typical kid. And then we said, hey, age is creeping up on us, and we should try for one more. If I was gonna lie, I would lie to you if I wasn't hoping for the boy, right? Like
Me,
I'd
me
lie
and
to
you
you if I
both,
wasn't
brother. Me and
hoping
you
for the
both.
boy.
Me and you both.
And quick story on that. It's the third time around. We've been very well versed with Vivian's situation and
Oh yeah.
doctors and medical. And my wife, we know my wife's pregnant. She goes to the hospital. She goes to get the checkup, the confirmation. And I did not travel with her. Feel like a bad person saying that, but I didn't travel with her. We were just like, hey, it's just a checkup. It's just
That's
hey, you're
all it is.
pregnant,
That's
all
all it
right,
is. Yeah.
right. And and I'm at work, and she texted me at about 9 in the morning, and she said twins. And I still remember how I felt.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And
I didn't know it went down like that.
yeah, sweats. I'm like nervous. I'm like, no way. So I call her back immediately. Like, what's going on? Why are you
Yeah,
texting
yeah.
me? Doesn't answer. She's like, I'm still in the appointment. I was like, no, you can't do
You
that. She
gotta
was,
you gotta call me. Yeah.
yeah,
No.
right. But no, I mean, she was not lying. So yeah, two twins were born in the middle of April, Hattie and Marin. Both very healthy. All things are going well, and then it's just the infant stage. They're getting real close to sitting up on their own. They're definitely maturing as they should, but you forget
God.
how hard the infant stage. You haven't been through it yet, but when
Not
you
yet.
do,
Not
you
yet.
forget
Not
you
yet.
forget how
I
difficult the infant stage is, and it's to say the least. Me and Hattie hung out for the majority of the night last night.
oh
Like
my goodness.
not her willingness, not mine, but yeah.
Just to
So
shout out Coach Dascher here. Like this guy got out of the busy house on a Sunday, went to his office to shoot this. We had a little bit of a hiccup at Soldier Field today. Like, I just appreciate you, one, taking time on a Sunday, and two, rolling with the punches with me, because it's not always like that. But a relationship like we have, and in a situation like this, where we're here to spread this awareness, I'm just very thankful for you, man. Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, I just love that story. I didn't know that's how it went down, so I'm glad we touched on that. Here's what I want to go to next, I should say. I got to tell the story at Rockford, the Bo Jackson story when you took down the cage. I got to tell the story. If you want me to tell it, if you want to tell it, I have to tell it for our listeners.
You tell it, because I mean, to me, and I'm saying it's not a big deal, but like, like
it is.
Everybody remembers things differently, so you go ahead.
Well, I'll give it to you, and this is why I'm bringing this story up, because you never know who you're going to affect during times of their lives. I've never really gone into the story like this, like the way I'm about to go into it. So I'm at Rockford. I'm a sophomore. I'm a JUCO transfer. I went to a nationally ranked JUCO out of high school, and quite frankly, listeners, I was not good enough to play there. I'll be very honest, very vulnerable, very transparent. I go to Rockford. I follow Kevin Miller. I follow Shaun Dascher, Bob Koopman, just to name a few. And I show up as a sophomore as this 19-year-old punk. Call it what it is. Coach Dascher was always awesome. Coach Miller, a lot of guys on staff were great. And Coach Dascher is one of those guys that would go hit with you. I'm talking 90 degrees Rockford cage up top at Seaver. Not the stuff that they have over at Rockford now. I take a couple rounds, right?
Definitely some vintage RU.
A lot of vintage RU stuff here. So I jump in there and I start taking a couple swings. And Coach goes, "Can I bounce in for a couple rounds?" If you ever watch Coach Dasher swing the bat back in the day, it's loud contact. Couple left side, couple up the middle, couple right side. Hits one of the hardest balls I've ever seen hit off a lefty stick. It goes up in the corner of the cage, brings the pin down, takes the cage down. So immediately, Coach, I'm thinking, well, now I can't freaking hit anymore. So thanks for that. But two, how are we going to fix this, right? Like, this is our only cage that we were using at that time. So the point of the story is I was in a really dark place at that time as a player. And you taking that time to go up there with me one-on-one and work on my swing and experience that day, I needed that day. So I don't know if I ever told it to you like that, but I just really appreciate what you do for your athletes. I guarantee you're still doing that now, Ben.
No, yeah. And thank you for that. And as I I don't know if I prepared for this, but I caught myself up with your guys' podcast this week, and I listen to some podcasts. I'm not a podcast guru. I won't.
Well, thank you for listening to ours. Thank you for listening to ours.
But yours is now on like my one of 4 saves, so you're on the short list.
You're the man for that. Thank you. We love it.
So, and I like it. I really not to get off topic, and we're not off topic, but just listening to the episodes that I did, and working in an environment with 14 to 18-year-old athletes.
Oh, yeah.
I really think, and you've said it a couple times, none of us are experts, right? We're not, none of us are licensed, but it's shining a light. It's bringing some awareness to mental health, mentality. I hope I don't like the word illness, right? But just, I see it in our hallways, right? Like I see it in our hallways. I deal with it with our players, and I don't know if I always deal with it the best, right? But I sure as heck try. And this is a great way to remind me of maybe how to approach different situations, or different ways to approach situations with different kids, because not every kid is the same. And it's the more I'm in this game, the skill side of coaching, the mental side of coaching, it's a very individualistic approach to all of it.
Yeah. It's not cookie cutter, man. It's not. And
no.
You've been in the game and I vented to you, you vented to me about certain things, and every situation is different. So if you're a young athlete today, talk about it with a trusted adult. Talk about it with a coach. If you're a young coach, or maybe you're a coach like a Bob Koopman, right? That's been around the game for how long? Shout out Bob Koopman again. But I bet Bob Koopman, if I called and asked him right now, he's changing he's got his son on the team now.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting that old that Frank is on the team, right? Lila's old now. Like, the point I'm trying to make is players and coaches keep adapting, keep trying different approaches. But the one thing that can't waver is the belief and the love you have for your players. That's it.
100%. I love it. And to revert back to kind of your story, I mean, those are the simplest things. Going up and hitting with you, I mean, I love doing it. That was no burden. I still love doing it, man. Like, I don't have the time and the freedom. But I was one-on-one with one of our guys that's a senior this year in the cage the other day. And it's just, I enjoy it. Sometimes I forget how much I enjoy it, right? Just the skill set, the talk, and man, that's a whole nother conversation
You
that
know
we
it.
can have. But
You know it. I love it.
it, it's
No.
it's great. I think it's wonderful though. Just to kind of touch base on the whole premise of this podcast of just I'm a big believer, and we talk about it on fitness, routine, mentality, taking care of yourself, take care of yourself first. Not that you're ever going to be a steel trap up here, because that's always a work in progress. But man, when you can kind of organize the things off the field pretty well, right? Like the other
Yeah.
things, they get easier. They may not be
Yes.
easy, but they get easier.
It's my other co-host, Luke Weed, who was on for 50 plus episodes with me. He used to always say it's simple, but it's not easy. And it's simple to put 12 things on a checklist. It ain't easy to go through them and knock them down like dominoes. And that's the difference, right? And I think people often think if I don't knock down all 12 bowling pins, did I fail the day? No. You go out there, you try to knock down as many as you can, give it your best. People will respect and love you for that. So I love that perspective, knowing that you're doing the best you can, man. I think that's big.
Absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
that's big.
That's all we ask from them as
Yep.
well, right?
That's it.
So be
That's
quick
it.
to be quick to forgive. We're not all perfect. Be quick to forgive.
Man, I'm clipping that, baby. I'm clipping that. I love that. Coach, I got to tell you this. I am sitting at Soldier Field right now. I've already cried once. I'm not going to cry again. I need to know your keep going moment before I wrap us up today. I need to know what broke you down. What did you have to go through to get to where you're at today?
So yeah, see, I studied for this. You would have hit me with this and I would have prepared. I don't know where I would go with this.
I
And,
love
and
it,
I
baby.
don't
I
even
love it.
know if I don't even know if I was right, but I have two pretty big moments. And I think they, secondarily get to mentality and mental health. But back in just growing up playing baseball, like I almost quit baseball in seventh grade. I wanted to quit baseball in seventh grade. I wasn't having fun. My team was getting destroyed every year, or every game. It was just one season, it
Yep.
was the one team, and I was going to be done. And you think about it, and you go, my dad didn't let me. So again, just you talk shout outs. I shout out my parents, shout out my wife,
Heck yeah. Shout
people
them
that
all
are
out.
very very close, and still my parents are still a big part of our lives, and we wouldn't be able to do what we do without them. However, he didn't let me quit. Small town kid, very blue collar mentality that we had, and hopefully still have, but didn't let me quit, man. And I wanted to quit so bad. I was not having fun, and just look where the world takes you,
And
right?
I'm
Like,
so happy they made you keep going, man, because
yes,
I don't know if I'd be doing the podcast today without that. So thank you to your
right.
parents for that.
So not that's I guess the way that extends, right? And then another one is my freshman year in college. I don't know, baseball's a hard sport, and I was above average in high school for a small school, right?
Yep.
I didn't know where I fit in college. I didn't know how good I truly was on the biggest picture, right? And
Right.
and I go and I play for Coop, and we were a small roster my freshman year, and I played and I struggled. I struggled as much as I ever have in baseball, and I hit like 260, and my strikeout rate was like one in every three plate appearances.
Oh
Right,
my
like
goodness.
if you look at my Rockford stats, that's not the player that I was, right? But my
Fair.
freshman year was a
Fair.
very big struggle, and I had to adjust and I had to learn, and it was a tough time. I never did I ever want to quit, but man, I really had to be like, what I'm doing isn't
Yeah.
working, and I need to figure that out. And along comes a lot of the grind that we don't see, that's not posted, that's not promoted, right?
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
of figuring out how to catch up to the college game.
Yeah. Can I ask you something?
Yeah,
When you were going through that tough time, you got athletes across the country, man, that are hitting the Mendoza line these days. You
yeah,
got kids across the country that are getting beaten out, right? Not playing.
yeah.
What would you say to them, man, that are going through this?
So I always revert back to put the work in, right? Like,
Yeah.
and people can say, oh, you can put too much work in. We talked about it earlier: consistency, balance, continuing to we all refer to it as the grind, the process, whatever label you want to have to it. But it really is, right? Like, there is no perfect plan. You have to figure out what works for you. But it has to consist of multiple things. In the baseball light, you better be getting your swings in if you're a hitter, right? You better be in the weight room. It doesn't have to be 7 days a week, but dang it, it better be maybe four,
It better be
right?
enough for
Like,
you. It better be enough.
exactly, and you go from there. And I know there's a lot of programming from schools and stuff like that now, and that's great. And hopefully you follow them. They're educated, help. But you got to get out of bed. You got to go. hard work always pays off. It does, right? Like it may not win you a national championship, but dang it, you go in, you put the hard work in, and you're gonna get something out of it for sure. And I truly do believe that that is a foundational piece of building some mental strength and some mentality. Because when push comes to shove, and I say this all the time to our guys, especially the ones that can have conversations like, who do I want in the seventh? I'm up one with 3 outs to get. Who do I want
Who's
on
the
that
guy?
circle? Who's the
Who's the
guy in the
guy?
seventh? Is it the guy that has the top end ability but hasn't put the work in? Or is it the guy that's there all the time? He might be moderate ability, right?
Yeah.
But man, he's worked too hard to give up, right? Like we
Yeah.
may not always win, but dang it, if we're going down with him, right? Like, and
It's huge, man. And this is the popular thing that's going around right now. It's the who are you letting date your daughter kid that's on the mound. That's it. I
Yeah,
will go to war with 20 of those dudes and compared. Some of my best teams at Rock Valley were not my best character guys. The best
100%.
character team wins at the end of the day.
You're gonna
That's
win in
it.
some light, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
win-loss record, it'll take care of itself. It may not be the best in the nation, right? But
Right.
it'll take care of itself. But man, you're gonna learn a lot more from it. And just to continue off that without extending, but I'm to the point now, right? Like I've sent, I don't even know the number, not I've sent, our program has sent, and the work with those individuals, guys on to the next level. And we're still following them. Some are
Yeah.
now getting done and they're becoming professionals,
Crazy.
right? And
Crazy.
I'm staying in contact with them, in the likes of like a Gain and Ruckman. You see what he's doing, and being around baseball.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
Yep, and many guys. Ben Swords has been around it for a while. Those are some of the early guys when I started here, and he's a professional and a married man now, and it's like, oh,
Crazy.
yeah.
We're getting old, coach. We're getting old. I remember coaching against him. We're only as old as we feel. I feel like we're pretty young feeling guys. So
yeah, I'm still a child at heart. Let's not lie.
me too. Me too. I love it. Coach, I gotta tell you this, man. This has been an awesome 30 with you, man. I just want to tell
Appreciate
you,
it.
I appreciate you. And not only as a friend, but like as a molder of men. I think if I ever have athletes going through this process, man, I'd love for them to be a pretzel as long as you're there, man. It's awesome stuff.
Well, we would love that, and even if they're not, we're here in our world, and especially my world, but we're really here for the growth of young individuals, right? Boys,
That's why we're
girls,
doing it.
what they may be, right? And so
That's why we're doing it.
that's the biggest thing. If it's just a phone call or a text message or whatever it may be, knowing that there's people that you may not even realize are there for you can definitely be there for you.
That's blessings, man. I love it. Coach, I'm going to wrap us up for today, but I do want to give you your flowers moment, man. We've been on for 30. Is there anything we haven't touched on that you said, hey, when I woke up this morning, I wanted to talk about this?
Man, I don't want to stall. We're on the air here. I don't know. We could talk about this forever, but between the training, the mental side, what our job is for young athletes. I don't think so. I just think reverting back to it's an individualistic approach, right? Like what works for one may not work for all. And man, I bring this up a lot, and I can't remember the first person, but I'll shout out our state coaches of the IHSBCA. I'll shout out the ABCA. But the rock, the marshmallow, and the jelly bean. Are you familiar?
I'm familiar. I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah, the rock and marshmallow. Just how kids respond, right? Some are rocks, right, and you can yell, scream, and they never alter, and or it takes a long time, right? Some are jelly beans, and they have a hard exterior. They're soft in the middle, and then some are marshmallows, and you have to approach them differently. And again, I'm far from perfect, right? But it is conscious in the mind, of how you approach these kids in the situations, especially in a game of baseball when they might be struggling or something didn't go their way, and can I get on them rough, right? Do I got to kind of talk to him one-on-one, or does he like does it fire him up just to get called out in front of the whole team? They're all different, and getting to know the kids and your rosters and the people you're involved with every day is important.
Coach, I got the chills, man. I mean, you got to discipline them one and love on them twice as hard. And every kid is different.
Very true.
And
very true.
I just appreciate our time today. I know our listeners are going to get so much out of this, man. And just keep doing what you're doing, man. It's inspiring to see you as you go on in your profession, as a teacher, as a coach, that you're forever growing. I think that's the main lesson I'm taking from today.
Absolutely. Growth mindset, man.
That's it, baby. Well, coach, keep going, bear down, and Pretzel Nation, stand up for this one. It's going to be a fun listen.
Absolutely appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing. Great plug. I really hope to share. Hopefully this helps even some of the athletes we deal with
Coach.
to get back
Coach,
some local guys talking about good things.
it's going to impact more than you think. And I just want to tell you that I love you and I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Pat.
All right, Coach.